Hi, this is Love from Tits and Giggles podcast. I love using Anchor because it's easy to operate and I can just pick up the phone and speak my mind whenever I want. I love the podcast availability because I can get it out to multiple platforms at the same time without having to go. It automatically generates your RSS feed and you get it out to your listeners. And I love the background music and all the sound effects. Loving Anchor so much. You should try it for yours. This is Love again with Tits and Giggles podcast. What's up, Tits and Giggles? So, I love to travel. And I've traveled overseas a lot. I was also in the military where they strongly told us, like, if you do anything wrong, like over here, you are like responsible. Like you have to go to jail over there. Like there's nothing America could do for you. And this is what they brief us on being soldiers. So when I see Americans getting in trouble overseas, I'm like, ee. But I think also because I like to travel a lot, there are some things that I didn't know was possible. So I'm going to share some tips with you guys and myself because I don't want to get locked up and I don't want you to get locked up either. So I wanted to talk about this because, you have Brittney Griner who's locked up over in Russia right now. And if you don't know who Brittney Griner is, she's in the WNBA. She plays currently for, let me go up here, the Phoenix Mercury. And so she was over in Russia because as you know, like female basketball players, WNBA players don't make as much as the men. So they normally will go overseas and play. So in February 2022, she was detained by Russian customs on allegations that cartridges containing hashtag oil or hashish, I don't know why hashish oil had been found in her luggage. She had been entering Russia to play with the Russian Premier League during the WNBA season. As of June, she remains in custody. Now, I know that she is due in court in July, like July 1st. So hopefully it works out for her. But yeah, poor Brittney, she is still locked up abroad. Sometimes I think it's the privilege of people that when you go overseas, especially something like that to me shows extreme privilege. She was probably famous and popular over there, but then like there's a whole war going on, and the fact that they were all leaving, and the fact that she was trying to bring those cartridges back, and I'm sure over there they treated her like she was a celebrity, but things changed. I for some reason I see her privilege all over this, and I'm just like, lady, what was you thinking? 1, you're black, 2, you're gay, 3, like you're an American, like so many strikes against you. So yeah, and we're at war. Russia was at war with Ukraine, but obviously America has been assisting Ukraine, etc., etc., etc. It's just kind of like, I probably would just come back with the clothes on my back, honestly, and my passport, just to get up out of the country. But, will you feel bad if she gets time? I look at this like, girl, what was you thinking? Obviously you don't want nobody locked up, but it's just like, girl, what was you thinking? But I want to share some tips for myself and you on some locked up abroad stories and what you should do if you're locked up abroad. So let's start with, here's what you should do if you get locked up abroad.
You should do if you ever get locked up abroad. The first thing you should do is contact the U.S. Embassy or consulate. They can't get you out of jail or provide you with legal help, but they can send you a list of English-speaking attorneys in your area. They can help you contact your family and friends back home, and they make sure that you're being treated fairly based on that country's prison system. The next thing you should do is hire a local lawyer because they know the laws and they know the language wherever you're in, and they can help you best. Depending on what's going on, you may also want to get an American lawyer. They can't represent you in that country, but they can help talk to the embassy for you and other American agencies and tell you what to expect over there. Before you go anywhere, you should always read up on local laws. And if you're in an underdeveloped country, bribery honestly might help you avoid prison if you're getting arrested. Follow for.
So there you have it on that. And that seems pretty straightforward. And I do know that a lot of the underdeveloped countries, they do take money. It does help. So not sure on Brittany's situation why that hasn't, but it is Russia, so I don't know. But let's get into here and talk about Dubai, which a lot of people like to go there, but they are not. I know the customs are very blurred. I've never visited there. I didn't really have a desire to, but I know that it is popular. I've done a podcast in Dubai and the women going over there and getting pooped on for pay. Check out that podcast if you want to. But here is some things that you cannot do in Dubai and what you may and may not know. So let's get into this lady's account of that. She's giving us some tips. So here we go.
Dubai, here's some things that you absolutely need to know. Listen up. Do you know you can get arrested for some of the craziest stuff in Dubai? I'm talking about crazy. Crazy. Swearing. Number one, swearing, cussing, especially the F-bomb, the F word. You could get 1 year in jail or a $2,157 fine. 1 year for saying the F word. Oh, yeah, and you can't swear online. You can't swear on social media. You're going to jail. Number two, checking somebody's phone. It's an invasion of privacy in Dubai. You can get 6 months in jail or a $21,000 to $100,000 fine for checking your man's phone. You hear me, ladies? Can go through the nigga phone. Number three, eating or drinking on public transportation. That's Uber, that's Lyft, that's taxi, that's bus. Okay? Your butt will get a fine. $22. They're going to fine you $22, okay? You can buy a whole nother meal with that $22. This ain't your, don't eat. This ain't your car. This ain't your house. Number four, carrying any type of food that contain poppy seeds. They say, y'all know what y'all doing. Stop playing in their face. Number five, if you have a messy car, they could tow your car. They could tow your car and they're going to fine you for having a nasty, junky car. They say, you ain't finna ride around on our streets of Dubai like that. Number six, making and spreading rumors. A lot of y'all love to do that. Y'all won't be able to get away with this mess over there, okay? You can get up to 3 years in jail for making and spreading a rumor about somebody or telling somebody business. Number seven, okay? Holding hands, kissing, hugging, all that. The people say they don't need to see your personal business. You need to get a room. You need to get a room, okay? We don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. You're going to jail, okay? You're going to jail. Especially if this person you're not married to. You're not married to this person. You're hugging this person. You trash bot. The people in Dubai say you're not going to hoe over here. Number eight, okay? Taking or sharing photos of an accident. Y'all love to take pictures of stuff. Y'all love to insert yourself in other people's business, okay? Love to take pictures telling them to check on your people. Your ass going to jail, okay? If you take a picture of any type of crime scene and you post it and you share it, you're going to jail.
So yeah, Dubai is not like us, and I find that pretty interesting just because of how many sex escorts go over there. But I know that in my podcast plug again, when one of the ladies was speaking, she was saying how the men would not even acknowledge them or look at them. So they have some strict rules over there. So I would advise you before you visit any place, but Dubai definitely seems like they have a lot of strict rules. So before you go over there, geez, not even being able to hug and kiss your spouse in public, kind of crazy. But I know that it is a predominantly Muslim country. So yeah, Here is another couple's account on how they almost got arrested in Mexico. And I was talking to my husband about this because I know that we traveled to Mexico during COVID and I took a lot of medicine, vitamins, because I was trying to stay healthy and safe. But when I look back on that, I was telling my husband, like, we could have been locked up because, they don't know our medicines. And, now that I look back on that, I'm like, in the future, I'm probably not going to take any kind of medicine. I'll just, like, prayerfully not get sick. And, Mexico has plenty of medicines and pharmacies. But yeah, so here's a couple's account on how they almost got locked up in Mexico. So let's get into their story.
Arrested in Mexico, but don't worry, we're okay. Oh my gosh. Mexico story time. It's just like our biggest fear.
So where do we begin?
Day 4 of us being in Mexico. We had just taken a 2-hour-long taxi ride from Tulum to Cancun.
Okay. Not a care in the world. Excited to go to Isla Mujeres. Me, Curtis, Kelsey will take care of the luggage.
Because I'm like, let me get the ticket spot since we're kind of running late. So I'm by myself and I'm running. We meet up and then there's like lines, like there's like an airport. Just right in front of us, there was like a few policias with a table. So I'm like, okay, this is like a normal thing. They check your bag before you get on the ferry.
Nothing to hide. Okay, let's get this over with.
So I give him my backpack. I'm like, he's really looking through our bags.
Meanwhile,
Kelsey's like, excuse me, why are hundreds of people walking by onto the ferry and you're not checking anyone else's bag? Just thinking like, it's fine. Like, this is just normal. I didn't think there was anything in MacPack that shouldn't have been there. My Sunday scaries. It's just CBD.
While Curtis pulls out his phone because he's trying to show the police officer, no, look, CBD is not THC. And he's like trying to help us out.
And they're like, it doesn't matter.
It's illegal.
It's all illegal. How many vapes you got in there, honey? The fuck? He had quite a few vapes in his backpack, which really isn't a big deal. They're like looking at him like, what's in here? Kelsey's like, oh, the sober ones are getting us in trouble.
I don't know where they say, okay, you point to me, you come with us. And I was just like, locked up abroad immediately. Like, what? I have to go with you guys to Mexican jail? She just straight up says, he's not going anywhere without me.
Did I say that?
You did, yeah.
And I think you went, yeah, that's my wife. That's my sugar mama. She's the one where you're going to get the money.
For all the crap that we've been through, for me to hear my wife say that, like, even though she didn't realize what she was signing up for.
Yeah, me really thinking though at that time meant like I was going to go to the jail with him and then like sit outside the jail. I thought like that's what
and like
I
hold
was.
hands through the bars.
Yeah. And then once we get into the car, that's when I realized, oh, I was going to jail too now for 36 hours. It wasn't just him. And thankfully I did go because he didn't have any money in his account and I had my debit card. If I wouldn't have gone,
I could have ended up in jail.
Oh yeah, or killed. We don't know.
They took us to the truck, put our bags in the back.
Wiley's already instantly like trying to pull out whatever money we had, but they didn't want to do the exchange in public. It was so scary. They were like, do you want to go to the ATM? They offered it to us. Like before we were going to go to jail, we were going to go to the ATM.
Me and Brittany in the back, and then some Sicario looking dude comes in with a mask and sits next to us. And
in the back seat of the policia truck with us. We were driving to the jail because at this point, all we thought was the CBD, the Sunday scaries that I had. That's all we thought it was at this point still.
Till he starts listing off. Well, first he says, okay, so it's 36 hours in jail, or because it's not actually a crime, you pay fine.
And we're like, is it illegal or is it not? I looked at the police officer and I was like, look at me, I had 2 buns in my hair. I'm not going to jail today. I'm not going to Mexico jail today.
Do you think
I was like, let's just get this over with. How much do you want? Like,
and then he goes, is 800 okay?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is this a bargain?
Trying to get the money from him.
Yeah.
They clearly don't know our situation. So I'm like, do you even have that in your bank account? And they're like, okay, 600. I'm like, yeah, I don't think he even has that in there. So we get it down to 500 more on top of the $150 cash that we already had.
So they drop me off at the ATM. There's 3 dudes in the truck with my wife. For all I know, they're just going to drive off with they're going to do this and that. And so I go to the ATM.
How to get the money out.
And the card, the transaction declined. So I go back. I was going to like attempt to try to like I could get a lower amount. And Brittany's like, where's my card? Just take my card.
At that point, I was getting nervous. I was scared they were going to get mad.
And there's stories that we've heard. Like, headless tourists washing up on shore.
In the cartel.
She gives me her card. And then I go back, get the money, running back with just a fat wad of cash and like.
I can't believe you didn't take a video in that time. In this meantime, like, the police is like asking me questions. Are you guys married? He's like, what do you do? And I showed him my TikTok just to kind of prove, hey, I am this sober person that I say I am. Like, in my bio, the first thing it says is sobriety. So I'm trying to tell him that, and he's just like, but you had CBD on you. And then he looks over and he goes, Special K. And like this close, because we're sitting this close in the car, Special K. And I was like, Special K. And he said a long word, and I was like, ketamine? I was like, no. And then here's me. I'm trying to tell him, no. I said, I used to do drugs, and I don't even know what that one is. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is not looking good.
That didn't come out right.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it looked like. I didn't know if it was in like a pill form or no.
What was it that he was referencing? What did he think was Special K?
Blowjob mints.
And the worst part about everything, she hadn't even used the mints yet.
I hadn't tried the mints. We did use them that night. That my friend had gave me to try.
That she left in like a sketchy Ziploc baggie.
I know.
Fast forward after, and I pull it out. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks so sketchy.
It looks so
At
bad.
one point, she says, "Children at home," and
I didn't want them to kill us.
And then the dude in the back seat with us, he translates to the ones in the front, and we just hear him just go, and they're all just like laughing.
Yeah, they were laughing. I felt this really weird connection to the one. Yeah, it was very obvious to us, like, this is what they do all day. Like, this, they had a routine. They knew exactly what they were doing. Each person had their own role. Right before, I guess, like, we said goodbyes to Kelsey and Curtis, they told Kelsey, like, don't worry, they'll be on the next ferry. Were they ever going to even take us to jail? Probably not. All the stories I've heard from this happening to other people, nobody's ever quite gave them as much as we did. That was 13,000 pesos. We ended up giving them 650, and honestly, at that point, I was so scared. Like, I was willing to hand over it all just to get out of that situation. We wanted to barter, and I was like, no, I'm not willing to barter with my life, though. So I'm looking through my backpack to try to scrounge up more cash, and that's when I saw the mints in there. At that, like, almost exact time, Wiley comes back from the ATM with the money. And so I'm like, I see these in my backpack, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, do I take these mints out of my backpack now and explain to them that these aren't what they thought they were? This is actually just blowjob mints? Like, do I start that conversation right now? Right now, as we're almost done. Like,
that's one thing I do know how to say in Spanish.
What?
Chifo me pito.
What's that mean? Oh, it's not mine.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the middle because at this point, like, Wiley's not looking well at all.
It was an act.
But I didn't know it was an act. I thought he was gonna, like, literally pass out at any time. I was like, okay, just let me handle this situation. Let me do all the talking. Just give me the money. They were actually very nice. Like, the police that was that was in the back seat with us. We chatted up. I mean, like, the one, I was like, do you have kids? And he's like, yeah, I have a 7-year-old son. And I wanted to say something smart, like, oh, I'm so glad our kids will never have to grow up watching their parents steal.
Oh, she's learning to. And I was like, no, don't tell them about your TikTok. Then kidnap us and kidnap you and try to extort even more money. Like,
they bring us back to the ferry. Oh, great. Are they going to charge us more money now to get our luggage back? Because they looked in one of our bags, the small bag. They didn't look in our big suitcase. And we had, like,
for all we had,
almost $10,000
had drugs and, like, in one
of the
suitcases.
Yes.
But it just was proof that they didn't really care, especially because they just shoved it back in our bag.
We had this little giraffe that we got Violet, and they were shaking it like they thought it was stuck. We had, like, quite a few $1,000 worth of photography equipment. They didn't see the purse, but they saw all the photography equipment. His drone was with us. If they wouldn't have had the CBD,
it would have been my
drone.
drone.
It would have been his drone. We've had issues with.
Well, back in Tulum, there was, like, all these pot shops and, like, actual marijuana shops.
I'm like, how is it illegal, but you guys literally have shops? What they sell in the pharmacias, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So they drop us off, videoed really quickly, and then they just
burn rubber. Everything they said was illegal. They stuffed back into our bag and sent us on our way after we paid them. So there's no rhyme or reason. It's just all about money. We just got robbed.
We just got arrested in Mexico. So we get to the hotel and I get my phone on Wi-Fi, and sure enough, the thing I see when I pull up TikTok is a video of Kelsey waiting for my sober friends to get out of the Mexico jail. And I'm like,
There it is.
oh, okay. Let me call my mom quick. We had $150 cash. We took out $500 from the ATM. Guess how much the ATM charged us to take that money out? $63 to use the ATM. I don't know why we just didn't get pesos out. We even looked more like tourists. We were like, yes, they'll take us to an American ATM.
So then they decided to get this cute cat.
Tell them what her name is.
Baby.
So who wants to go to Costa Rica?
Hey!
CBD though. Just
Don't
bring
worry,
the
I won't
CBD.
bring my CBD or my Flint's mints. The mints were pretty good. Not like
Yeah,
Mr.
the
Life
mints were
good,
pretty good.
but they were pretty good.
I concur.
So yeah, that was a long story, but these people were kind of idiots in my opinion because, I mean, one, who carries cash on them in Mexico? I don't. Like, if I do, I'm getting everything in pesos, number one. Number two, like, mints in a baggie, like, the whole story is like just begging. And then just the nerve of them to be like, oh, they were robbing us. But it's like, I know, like, as an American, when we go to these places, these people are not making money, and then we come over there with all our stuff and all our everything, and then we wonder how they probably take advantage of us. So I'm sure that there was, like, they were ripe for the picking, as we say, because just from looking at them and how they carry themselves, and just everything they talked about, like, oh, we had $10,000 and we had a drone and we had CBD and we had vapes. Like, I mean, come on. Like I said, I'm not even going to take my vitamins next time I go to Mexico. I know that I did before because, like I said, it was COVID and I was trying to stay super healthy. But next time, I mean, like they said, the shops over there sold it. I mean, if they wanted that, they should have just probably bought it from over there instead of bringing all their stuff with them. But yeah, so these are some stories and tips and what you should do if you get locked up abroad. Hopefully it never happens to you. I know that I'm going to be more conscious of that and the rules, like, before I go to another country, of what I can and can't do, because I know Americans, we like to take a lot of our ways to other countries because we kind of forget that every place ain't America. As crappy as sometimes we think America is, we do have a lot of more freedoms. And, you know, people, I mean, it's a struggle out here. You think that we're going through recession. Just imagine these countries that we're visiting. I mean, you know, a lot of people say, oh, they'll rob you, oh, they'll this. But it's like, if you're coming over there with all your money and all your stuff and you're coming to this country that's surrounded by poor people, I mean, come on. Probably it's not a time to be flashy. It's probably not a time to be a lot of things, but you know, as Americans, we like to show off. So just be careful, you know, be conscious, be gracious, be nice. Know that, you know, it is a privilege for you to be over there vacationing. And I mean, I know that my experience in Mexico has been good. I have never felt in danger or unsafe, but maybe because me and my husband, we look poor, they don't want to rob us. But yeah, so yeah, be safe out there, guys, when you're traveling. Don't get locked up abroad. And yeah, this is Tits and Giggles. I pray that you get to travel safely all summer long, and I am signing off.